Hello guys, welcome to today's webinar. Apparently, it looks like COVID-19 has is over Zoom as well. We were unable to broadcast the streaming on Facebook. Maybe something has changed on their end, or I don't know. Maybe there are some issues with uh, with the service itself. However, I made the post on YouTube, and as mentioned on our Facebook post today, we're going to focus a bit more on the suite of the optimizer, not like we usually do, like focusing on the native platform. So basically, for those that don't know, the optimizer is composed of three products, like the main ones, starting from the optimizer native. Then we have the mobile platform, which is focused on pop redirect and push traffic, as well as X optimizer, which is focused on adult display traffic. Now, uh, considering the pandemic situation, there have been lots of discussions whether conversions will go down or will not go down or will increase or whatever the situation might be. However, something that we've been noticing, and based on some feedbacks from our users, uh, generally the situation doesn't look that bad. Like the conversions are still stable, besides some random drops on specific days. Still conversions are flowing in, and the revenue is stable. Rather than what's happening right now is that the bids or the competition may have gone down because most of the major brands may have retired their or may have paused their campaigns over native mainly. And what's happening right now is that bids most probably aren't that competitive or at that at those levels that they used to be 2 or 3 weeks ago. So to to get back on, sorry, just a second. So getting back to the platform, as I mentioned, we have three platforms: the native platform, pop and push traffic, as well as the display, which is for adult display. So basically, if you're running on ExoClick, Traffic Junkie, Traffic Stars, or Traffic Force, you have the ability to control automatically all the traffic that is flowing in on your campaigns, especially if you run campaigns with wide targeting, like run of network. You you definitely would need something like X optimizer, because you will end up spending hundreds of dollars on placements that aren't worth keeping the traffic on, while you would need to focus on premium placements where your offer has better chances to convert. Same stands for the pop and redirect traffic or push traffic as well. As a matter of fact, I guess most of you know it already, but most of the push subscribers that now are monetized through push traffic have been previously acquired heavily on pop and redirect traffic. So basically, we're talking about the same audience here, or the same group of users that do visit sites that serve pops. However, having a different ad format type, it represents some major opportunities and better chances of getting you a profitable campaign. And the other one is the native platform, where basically is more complex in terms of like running native it requires higher budgets and better funnels and stuff like that. Like on pop and redirect, you can basically even direct link, while on native traffic, you will need to have some landing pages, some pre-sales to improve the conversion rate of the offer and better sell the offer to your visitors, which I think which stands even on pop and redirect or even adult traffic. So the more sales content you have, the better results you're going to get, and you will even avoid sending bot clicks or fake clicks to the offer, which for some networks might be a problem, especially the smaller ones. So in order to to address the need for landing page services or landing page hosting, which most of affiliate marketers may struggle with or may have a hard time dealing with, or they would even need to hire somebody to take care of that. We have launched a new platform which is called Lander Lab, and basically on Lander Lab you will have besides having a visual landing page editor, you will have hundreds of ready to use landing page templates or basic or standard blank templates that you can use to start your or to create your landing page from scratch without having to reinvent the wheel from scratch and uh, get your things up and running pretty quickly. The service is free for now, like because we're still in beta, but um, you basically get all the benefits of a landing page hosting service, including a visual landing page editor, free templates, free hosting, uh, armed with content distribution networks. Like you won't need to worry about CDNs or setting up content delivery networks on your server or on Amazon or whatever your hosting service is. But basically, you simply get to create an account at lenderlab.io, plug in your domain names by basically simply adding a Cloudflare account which is a DNS service provider, and you won't need to go to the paid version, but basically you can start with the free, which is more than enough for what affiliates you usually use. So basically, once you add your Cloudflare account, you will later on decide what are the domain names that you want to use, manage them from here without even having to go back to Cloudflare and add any subdomains or any directories from here and have your landing page served properly. So that being said, you can jump after adding the domain names. You can jump to the landing page. Say you're running sweepstakes on pop traffic. Here's a Win iPhone sweepstakes offer that you can use, or landing page that you can use right away. And basically, you can view the preview of the landing page from desktop, tablet, and even mobile right from here. So without having to recreate it from scratch, you can click on Use Template, specify a name, let's say Win iPhone, give it a few tags like English and iPhone, and hit on Save. Then from here, you are able to edit the landing page by changing your tracker domain links or changing the images or stuff like that, which I will go in a second. But basically, first off, you will need to assign a domain to it. Let's say I'm adding this domain. I'm doing this. I'm assigning this other subdomain. I'm specifying the path. And if you're running pops, what usually happens is, especially in some countries, uh, is that your domain may get flagged pretty quickly. So, so in order to address that, I would suggest to create separate paths or directories for your landing pages. Let's say get an iPhone here like this, then specify a specific subdomain, then specify the domain that you would like to use for that landing page. The reason for that is that usually the first one to get flagged from Google deceptive site warning or Google safe browsing is the path or the directory. Then it goes to the subdomain level. Then after that, it usually goes to the root domain or the domain as a whole entity. So by managing your domains or your publication links like this, you may get some extra time. And now at the step, I will just click on finish later because I don't want to publish it yet. What I want to do right now is that I want to go and edit this landing page, which I will do from here, edit landing page details, and I will open this in the editor where I will be able to change any tracker campaign links or any other details that belong to my landing page. Now, for those that know this type of landers, these landers are usually done using show and hide elements. So in this case, we're not at the last option, but what we can do right here is that we can go to the lander settings and we can edit all the entry pops, exit pops, back button redirects, countdown time redirection, auto redirection of the landing page, or time-specific entry pop alerts, or even run some custom code, or even specify on other libraries. Now, the easy thing or the easy way for us to change the click URLs would be to simply go to the code editor and open it here, maximize it a bit, and we can easily see here in the code, even if you're not even if you're not a coder, is that you will see you can basically search for URL like click URL or something like that, or link, and you can get to the link where you want to send it. So basically, here I can specify the click URL. Let's say https click dot landerlab.io /click. Hit on edit code, and I'm good to go with that. Now, of course, this page is a bit maybe a bit complex for some of you, or I will need to go into specifics of the landing page. Let's see, and I can get just a second, because I took an example that might not be the most appropriate one to show you. However, I have some other examples here, because this type of lander requires you to go a bit over the code of the page or set a specific element to visible. But basically, if I'm having a listicle page like this, I can open the editor and change the call to action button like this. I can edit the link from here and change the href to https://track.landerlab.io /click. Maybe you're hearing some baby voices in the background, but these are tough times, lockdown times that we can't avoid, as we're working from home right now. So basically, it's something That I guess you guys totally understand. So once you have your landing pages ready, you can move on and create the campaigns, which I can show you an example from the Optimizer native, where once you have the landing pages and have created your campaign on your tracker, you basically need just to start getting traffic on that and optimize your campaigns. Now, something that we usually get asked for is some rules on how to automate or how to optimize the campaign. Now, basically, on any source, we have like publishers, creatives, if in case we're talking about native push traffic, as well as other traffic, other display, like we have the ads with the image and headline or only image, and then we have like landing pages that are basically applicable on all sources. So in that situation, what we want to do is that we want to split test those elements of our funnel, but mostly we want to focus our optimization on the publisher ad level as well as the bid level. So to do that, instead of going back and forth from the traffic source to the tracker, checking the statistics, making sure they are accurate from one side to another, we can basically plug in the accounts on the optimizer, like connect the traffic source account, connect the tracker accounts at the same time on the optimizer, and have that this kind of optimization managed automatically using simple rules that will take actions on our behalf. Sorry. So to start with, and the flow is pretty similar on the optimizer native, on X optimizer or X optimizer, as well as on the optimizer mobile. So you start with the account wizard, where you connect your traffic source accounts. Let's go back to the native. You add your account. Let's say we're adding graph content. We just add a name like demo account, enter the API key and API secret, hit on save after entering all the required information and specifying our account time zone, as well as any different currencies from US dollars, which is the default one. And once we hit save, we can move to the next step and add our tracker. Now, the flow is the same, like you specify the tracker. It could be AdsBridge, it could be Binom, Bmob, Everflow, which is used by some more advanced affiliates, or is like the new kid in the game, which is gaining a lot of traction. And if you're using Everflow, which is still in beta, you're more than welcome. And let's if you need any adoption, we can go over that together. You can integrate funnel flags, you can integrate Google Analytics, Kintura, RedTrack, Thrive, Volume, and the newest version of Thrive, which is the cloud version. And hopefully, I believe all Thrive users by now may have already upgraded to the new cloud version, which is expected to have better performance in terms of reports generation and other core functionalities, making it easier for its users to deal with Thrive. And one thing I want to mention is that while you can add all the major click trackers of usually used by affiliates or by performance marketers, where it's really important to track where the click is coming, if it's generating an engagement or any clicks on the landing page, and if it has gone to the offer. Now, along with that, you can integrate Google Analytics along with any of the supported trackers and have both of these tracking platforms aligned together on the same campaign. And by having Google Analytics integrated, I mean by having it plugged in on your landing page, so you can get some more data, like what is the bounce rate of the users, even though it might not be strictly relevant to some funnels. And single click funnels or stuff like that. But if you're running a listicle, or if you're running an offer that it's highly dependent on the landing page where all the sales is being done on the landing page level, then you can use such data to optimize your campaign. So moving forward, let's say I'm selecting volume. I will add all the information like record, and like I did on the traffic source side, hit on save and move to the next step. And in this last and final step, I will tell the system that out of all the configurations, out of all traffic source configurations found on my tracker, the one that I have connected on the first step belongs to this configuration, which means I'm basically telling the system that this traffic source account belongs to this traffic source configuration on my tracker. So this way, the system makes sure, or the optimizer makes sure that the data is correctly aggregated. And what you want to make sure else is that all the tracking tokens or tracking parameters are properly set. And in case you miss any of these parameters, you basically need to simply go to your tracker, update the configuration with the missing parameters, update the tracking parameters on the traffic source, and simply go through the account wizard once again and just select uh, the traffic source and do that like this until you get all green and hit on finish. And once you get all the setup finished in terms of integrating the traffic source and the tracker, you can move forward with adding the other traffic source accounts if needed, or any other traffic source accounts if you need to connect multiple ones. And in a matter of 10 to 15 minutes from the moment of connecting your traffic source accounts, you will have all your campaign data reported on the optimizer. And same applies to to the optimizer mobile. Let's say I'm going for some zero par campaigns. And I think I have some data here from the last 30 days, but let's check last 6 months. So basically, we will have the data from all sides. Same applies to the adult campaigns like Exoclick, Traffic Force, Traffic Junkie, and Traffic Stars. So we can basically have campaigns all over all over the place, like from native to mobile, push and pop and redirect, as well as other traffic, and keep track of the performance automatically on the campaign, publisher, as well as ad level. Now, for policy-related reasons, I won't go into the details of an adult campaign because I'm pretty sure there are some adult content over there which I'm not willing to go or to set our campaigns or our accounts into trouble. So for the sake of presentation, I will just go through the optimizer native once again. And let's say I'm doing it with Taboola, where I have some more data. And basically, we will have the same end-to-end performance overview from the tracker to the traffic source on the same platform, all aggregated on the same time zone, so that we can be able to see what is the actual net profit, what is the actual cost of a specific element of our campaign, and what is the actual performance in terms of landing page clicks, EPC, CPC, ROI, net profit, and all else that comes from a specific campaign. And by having all this data carefully and accurately aggregated on the platform, we can then create automatic rules that will behave on that will execute actions on our behalf. So let's say we want to block publishers, which is the basic action, and we start with a block publisher rule, like we want to get rid of all the publishers that just send clicks but don't generate anything in terms of conversions. And especially on native, when we're talking about traffic sources like Taboola or Outbrain, where there is a known delay, we know that we can't rely heavily on the traffic source side. So in that case, what we want to do is that we want to utilize the the tracker statistics, which would make it up for us to, in order to handle the number of clicks or the number of statistically significant events to block a publisher. And so I made a simple example here on Excel, like if we're bidding 43 cents a click on Taboola, and we're sending at least 100 clicks from our traffic source to our tracker, it means that we have spent $43 on a specific publisher. And if you're running an offer which is paying out like $10 or $20, in that case, spending like $43 without even getting a single landing page click won't be a good approach. Like you will need a huge amount of budgets in order to do that. And what you can do in order to overcome that delay from Taboola or from Outbrain is that you can simply rely on your tracker statistics, like if tracker clicks are greater or equal to, let's say, 100 or 50, and there are no landing page clicks and no conversions, you want to block this publisher. Sorry, you want to block this publisher. And tracker conversions are less or equal to 0, then you want to block this publisher. And you can build these rules, or you can look out for the conditions to be true based on the today's performance of the campaign, yesterday's performance of the campaign, last 3 days, 7 days, 14 days, current month, last 30 days, 60 days, or up to last 90 days. So you can optimize from small windows up to large amounts of large windows of data. And in that, let's say we take a last 30 days approach on our optimization, we can have these rules run on various traffic sources or various campaigns from different traffic sources, because these are like the generic rules, and we can have them executed every 10 minutes. So basically, the system will check every 10 minutes if on the selected campaigns, any of the publishers or widgets or sites, whatever you'd like to call them, has generated or has sent at least 100 clicks on our tracker campaign link without generating at least one landing page click and one conversion. So this would be the basic approach into dealing with publishers that or with traffic sources that have some delays. On the other hand, you can utilize and aggregate both traffic source and tracker data on the same rule. And if you notice here, we have tracker fields. In the conditions, we have traffic source fields, and we can have as well Google Analytics fields. And if you're using custom conversions on with a volume tracker, then you can easily deploy specific conversion events into your rules. Like you may be running a lead generation with some additional events after the lead is being generated with on your funnel or on your offer. So you want to optimize on granular events. That way you can use the custom conversions to do that. So getting back to the example I was going through, let's say you want to optimize based on actual spend. So let's say you're running a campaign on rep content, and you want to block anything if the traffic source spend is let's say $15 or even $10, and landing page clicks are less or equal to 0, and conversions are less or equal to 0. So in this case, we're telling the system, get rid of all the widgets that have spent $10 over the last 30 days and have generated no landing page clicks and therefore no conversions on our funnel. If you're direct linking, like if you want to block straightforward without taking into consideration landing page clicks, you can simply remove that condition and create even a more simple rule based on traffic source spent and tracker conversions. Or if you're not using a tracker and you would like to base your optimization based on the conversions that are being reported on your traffic source, then you can basically uh, work based on traffic source conversions to be at least 1 or less or equal to 0. And something else that you might want to do uh, with uh, with your rules is that you may want to block ads. Let's say you want to block anything or any of your ads, especially if you're running with distributed traffic allocation on your ads, is that you want to block anything which has spent, let's say, 3 times or 5 or 10 times the average payout of your offer. So let's say you're running a $5 offer payout, and you want to block all the ads which after $50 of ad spend distributed among different or various widgets or publishers has generated no conversion. So to do that, the logic is pretty much the same. So you specify the data window that you want to utilize for your optimization rules, and tell the system, like, if traffic source spend is greater or equal to $50 and conversions are less or equal to 0, or in some other cases, if the net profit, let's say, if you want to block anything that is basically minus uh, $40 after or minus $35 after $50 of ad spend. So what we're doing in this case is that we're checking the traffic source spent on the spend reported by the traffic source, and we're looking for something to be at least $50. And if the net profit, which is revenue minus ad spend, is minus $35 or less, which would be minus 45 or even minus 50, then we want to get rid of those ads. So in this case, the logic stays the same. We can basically execute the rule every 10 minutes or every 20 minutes and have it run on our behalf. Something else that you might want to do is that you want to change the bids, and something which we've seen that helps on your campaign performance is like avoiding to pause the campaign totally, and instead of that, let's say during nighttime, instead of totally pausing your campaign, what you want to do is that you want to play with either the bid or the budget of the campaign. So in that situation, let's go over some examples here. So let's say we want to change the campaign bid. So I'm just going over a campaign bid rule, and let's say I want to, based on today's performance, which for me basically, or for you basically won't matter, you want to specify the hour of the day where you want the bid. Let's say it's 1 a.m. You want to set the bid to a specific low bid. So let's say you want to set it to 3 cents, which could be the minimum allowed by the traffic source. And you can have, let's say, Taboola, Outbrain, ref content, volume DSP, or actually not volume DSP mixed together with volume, Taboola, Outbrain, ref content, or other campaigns, because volume DSP works on a CPM basis. So having a different bidding model might negatively influence on your campaign. However, what you can do is that you can assign multiple campaigns to this rule and tell the system, like every 30 minutes or every 1 hour, which means that once 1 a.m. Based on the time zone that you specify on the scheduling condition, let's say UK or sorry, London time zone, you want to at European London time zone 1 a.m., you want to set the bid to 3 cents, and you just save the rule, give it a name, and save the rule. And getting back to my rules here, I should have some examples. Yep. So I'm setting the bid to 3 cents at 1 a.m. here. Then at 8 a.m., I'm setting the bid to a different level. So here I'm setting the bid to the minimum allowed, like 03 cents. And at 8 a.m., I'm setting the bid to 43 cents. So this way, I'm able to schedule the bidding as well as avoid being penalized by the traffic source algorithm for pausing the campaign totally. And the same can be done with the rules on the optimizer mobile. So let's say you want to change the campaign bid if you're running pop on push or push traffic, so you may want to change the bid to a specific CPM depending on the traffic source. Like if you're, and here the trick is that is to group the rules based on the pricing model of the traffic source. So let's say if your traffic source charges for cost per view, like you pay for you set the bid or you set the bidding price by cost per view or cost per click, or you could even run on specific traffic sources on cost per mile, like cost per 1,000 impressions. Then you'd better divide the rules, especially the bidding rules, based on their traffic source as well as their bidding model. This way you can avoid setting abnormally high bids or low bids to specific campaigns without even planning to do so, just because the bidding models or the bid types on specific traffic source are different. So like I said, we can basically specify the hour of the day here, tell it like at 3 a.m. I want to set the bid on a CPM basis like 10 cents for 1,000 impressions, or even if I'm allowed by the traffic source 5 cents, and I'm good with it, because next day at 8 a.m. I can always have my bids automatically increased by another rule, and this way I'm able to depart and to schedule the bidding strategy without having to go over tens of hundreds of campaigns manually and do that every day. Like sometimes, especially those guys that are engaged with other stuff, as well as it's not that things will happen to the latter every day. It's pretty tough to keep the schedule on a manual or on a human basis. So you'd better have a machine take care of that. And some other examples I would like to go today is the situation where after a specific amount of time, let's say your campaign has generated some revenue and you're noticing some specific patterns on publishers. So to give you an example, getting back to our campaign statistics, or let me go over Outbrain here, because we usually do it with Tabuda, just because I have some dummy data on it. So getting back to Outbrain, let's say you want to optimize on the section level, you want to change the bids, or you want to pause some publishers or whatever, but mainly on the bid level. So going back to the performance of the campaign, you will notice that some publishers or some sections, and let me remove some section ID here, which takes up a lot of place, and I'm removing the name here, which is a duplicate. So basically, on these sections, you will notice that the tracker ROI is different. So we will have an ROI jumping from a few tenths of positive 10%, 20%, 30% positive, while we may happen to have some other publishers which can have 163% ROI, 200 ROI, 1,000% ROI, or 500% ROI. And by having this kind of, or this dynamic, by having an actual dynamic performance over various publishers or various sections, we might want to be careful when setting bids based on EPC or based on ROI, because actually what's happening is that we cannot set a 50% bid based on EPC. If we have a publishers, if we have a section with a $2 uh, earning per click, while at the same time we have another publisher which is still profitable, but we're actually bidding like 50 cent over there, and we want to get, or we're bidding 60 cent over there, but it only has an EPC of $1, and we're basically losing traffic from that publisher and setting the bid to 50 cent instead of 60 cent. Now, in order to address this kind of situation, what we usually suggest to do is like to take a look at your campaign's performance and notice some specific patterns over the publishers or the sections of your campaign. And based on that, you can easily create rules and group the changes, or isolate the changes based on specific performance metrics. Now, to give you a real example, let's say I want to optimize the section bid, or automate the section bidding strategy or on my Outbrain publishers. And I want to do that on all the publishers, and I want to set the bid dynamically based on EPC. So I'm telling the system, if the traffic source, or if conversions are greater than 1, which means 2 and up, and the EPC, and here we have 3 options. We have the tracker EPC, EPC, and traffic source EPC. Now, the difference between these options here that are talking about the same metric is that when we're considering tracker EPC, it means that the system will take in consideration the revenue reported by the tracker divided by the number of clicks or campaign link visits your tracker reports. In which case may not be 100% accurate, because you may notice that sometimes some clicks coming to our campaign link are not reported or are removed from the traffic source because those are known to be as fake or bot clicks or spider clicks. So in this case, going for the tracker EPC is not like the best option or the most accurate option. However, it is there, and you can use it based on your optimization patterns. Then we have the EPC, which is the actual earning per click, which is calculated based on the revenue put from your tracker and the number of clicks reported by the traffic source. And this is the metric which is the most accurate, because you're paying for each revenue per click that you are calculating, or you're considering to make changes. You have paid a cost per click, like what you pay and what you get from the clicks that you are buying. And as I said, this is the most accurate. And so we have the traffic source EPC, which I wouldn't suggest to use. However, we have made it available based on our users' request. But optimizing based on traffic source EPC when you're having a tracker won't be the best best approach, because some sources are not 100% on accurate on your conversion reporting. And to avoid those situations, we always suggest to go back to using a tracking platform and utilize the EPC. So let's say, getting back to the grouping of the rules, what we want to do now is that we want to group or to run the changes only on those publishers or those sections where the EPC is between a specific between a starting range and an ending range, like the lower range and the higher range. So here I will tell the system, change the bid if the EPC is greater than let's say 20 cents, and the EPC is less than or less or equal than 90 cents, just as an example. If we're talking about cents, or if you're optimizing on cents, hopefully or ideally we might want to make these changes or these groupings on a narrow limits, because that will affect how the bid will be placed. So let's say we have a few options here. So we can set the bid to a specific amount. Let's say we want to set it to 7 cents, 70 cents, or we can set the bid to be changed dynamically based on the actual EPC, and set the bid to 85% or even 95% of the actual EPC, and tell the system do not get below 45 cents of bid, and do not get above $1.3 of bid. This way, we make sure that even if some of these sections give us like a $5 EPC at any given moment, we won't have to bid like 90% of $5 EPC and outbid the whole network, but we still stay safe and bid on the levels that we are willing to, and we are safe to run our campaign to. So this way we can have the bid changes being done every few hours, or we can schedule these bid changes to be done daily, let's say twice a day, once a day, or whatever works for your optimization strategy. Let's say I'm doing it every day on 2 p.m. Let's say Berlin time zone, and I want to run it only once, and to run this only once at 2 p.m. Berlin time zone, I will need to select the hour that I want to run the rule. And let's say I'm running it only on weekdays on 2 p.m. and on Sundays I'm running it at 10 a.m. And coupling this schedule, this hourly schedule, with running the rule every 1 hour, it means that this change will be done once 10 a.m. kicks in, according to European Berlin time zone on Saturday and Sunday, and once 2 p.m. kicks in from Monday to Friday, we will set the bid to 90%, 95% of EPC, making sure that we are profitable. Like we're basically asking here to be 5% profitable and keep getting more traffic from this section. Or if we have a situation where we have a high EPC on this publisher, so let's say we have an EPC of maybe $3.5, between 3.5 and $4.7 on some specific publishers, then we might want to set the bid to 35% of the EPC, because it doesn't make sense for us to set the bid to $5 or $4 or even $2, because it will be way too high. Even though we, on the other hand, we still have the maximum and the minimum allowed bids in order to help the system dynamically change the bid, but do not to go beyond our limits, or not to go and bid some values that we may not want to be set on our campaigns or on our sections. Now, this is pretty much how the rules work. Of course, there are various types of rules based on the specifics of the traffic source. Like basically, you have everything that you need to optimize your campaign and that you have on the traffic source, but you can easily translate all those manual actions into automatic actions using rules and freeing up your time. Even though the situation now, in a situation like this now, you might say like, okay, screw it, I'm going to do everything manually because I have time and I want, as I'm staying home. But believe me, even when you have plenty of time and you think that you can take care of all those granular or small details of your campaign that can help on changing the ROI of your campaign and turning a campaign from a losing one to a winning one, it's better to deploy a machine which runs rules and analyzes data and metrics 24/7, instead of doing that manually and having to stay up all night because you're running a campaign on a different time zone, or having to do calculations or repetitive calculations multiple times a day in order to make sound decisions. So this is pretty much what how the rules work. Of course, you have some ready-to-use examples if you don't know where to start from, and this is from the native platform. If you go to the mobile platform, you may see that we have lots of rules here as well. So you can see the insignias of each traffic source to be present on the side of each rule. So you can do that. You can build specific rules for each traffic source, and you can build an unlimited number of rules. The same goes even on the adult traffic on adult platform for the adult traffic sources that where you can pause a campaign, pause an ad, pause a site, or an ad group, or change the bids on spots or zones, or even on campaigns. So basically, this is pretty much what the platforms have. If you have any questions, I would highly encourage you to submit a demo request on our pages. Sorry, on our pages, and we can go over a detailed call. Like simply add your name, email address, and the message, and submit a request here, and we can go over a call. And if you need to go over your specific usage patterns or specific optimization strategies and want help on how to translate them into rules, we can do that together, and we can assist you down the road in order to make sure that you utilize the power of automation as much as possible and make use of it to scale up your campaigns and profits. And by that, I mean from real case scenarios that we've seen from a few selected users. They managed to go from a few tens of thousands of dollars ad spent on a monthly basis, let's say something between 40 to $65,000 a month, up to 1.5 or $2 million a month of ad spend, just because they were able to understand how a specific traffic, how the rules work, and how to translate the automatic rules into actionable helpers, or into a machine that will do the work for them. And they basically were spending, let's say, just an hour or maximum two on a daily basis over their campaigns, and they were running profitable on autopilot for several months in a row. So make sure to utilize or to get the best of your campaigns, leveraging the power of automation. And if you have any questions, like I said, make sure to drop us a message from our public or our website demo request form, or simply write us at support@theoptimizer.io, and we will get back to you as soon as we can and schedule a suitable time for both of us and go over an hour call, or even more if needed, to go over your use cases and make it happen for you as well. Thank you guys, and wish you a good time, and stay safe as much as you can, because the situation doesn't seem to get any better all over the world. So let's hope we make it safe from this situation as soon as possible, and we get back to our normal life. Bye bye.